Hey guys, it's Dr. May. How are you today? Well, I want to share with you an energy healing technique that can make self-affirmations that you use more effective and help them sink in better. Okay. So, a lot of times in treatment and in our personal growth, we like to use self-affirmations. So, why not pair it with a temporal tap, which is super easy to do to make them work better, right? Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this. You'll be surprised at how actually easy it is. And it's a great tool to put in your coping skills toolbox. Okay, so I'm going to call this one locking in self-affirmations with the temporal tap. Okay, and you can see in that picture diagram where those circles are on the woman's ear. That's exactly where you need to tap. Okay, it's real simple. Okay, so just so you know, a little background about this. So what does temporal tapping do? Well, it was actually originally discovered in Chinese medicine and is part of acupuncture, acupressure type things. Okay, and the whole goal is it helps us to break harmful habits and establish new ones, right? So why do we say self-affirmations to begin with? Because we're trying to put in some new ideas in ourselves. We're trying to change something in ourselves, right? Change the way we think, change the way we operate, right? So the temporal tapping helps us to do that, okay? And it actually makes our brain more receptive to the statements that we're going to be saying, okay? And more open to learning. And it suspends other sensory input. So it's more focused on the statements you're making, okay? So what it does in a more technical way, okay, just so you know, there's some different meridians that run through our body, and they're basically like energy channels, okay? And when we work with the meridians and unblock certain energy, the energy flows better and we can operate more effectively, okay? So when we temporal tap, temporal along the side, it relaxes 3 different meridians, okay? One is called the triple warmer meridian, which is kind of responsible for our fight or flight stress response. So when we tap on that, it helps in clearing rigid ideas and aids in transitioning, like transitioning from one thought form to another, okay? It also affects the gallbladder meridian, which helps create more energy flow, which is healthy, right? We want energy to be floating and not blocked. It helps with motivation and better decision making, right? Not bad. And the stomach meridian is also involved, and that enhances our conscious thinking, right? We want more access to our wise mind, so we want our conscious thinking operating, our intellect, and better emotional balance, right? So when we activate all these things, it makes our goals and affirmations sink in better, okay? All right, so how do we do it? All right, so the first thing is we need to figure out what do we want to work on, right? So they say it's best to try to work on one thing at a time, you know, just to kind of make things a little simpler. All right, so just identify one thing you want to start with, maybe something not too difficult. So it could be like a habit, an attitude, an emotional response to a situation, something that you may be feeling a little bit stuck about, okay? And so then try to distill that down to creating describing the change in it's like a single sentence, right? So kind of stated like an affirmation in the present tense as if it's already happening right now, that it's like it's already true, okay? So the goal should be aligned with our values and our emotions, right? And it's important to use language that feels natural for you, right? If you're saying it in other language, it may not register as much for you. So like use your own words, basically, okay? And as you're tapping, really mindfully focus on the meaning that you're trying to say. Focus on the words you're saying and try to like embody it as much as you can. Okay? Because the problem is they say one of the only drawbacks of this technique is if you're unconsciously thinking or feeling something else while you're tapping and saying your statement, right? So if I'm saying I am calm, but I'm really feeling no, I'm not, I'm an anxious mess, I'm going to be tapping in my unconscious feeling and not what I'm saying out loud. So I have to kind of like allow myself, at least part of myself, to believe it and feel it as much as possible. Okay? Because chances are there is part of you that will believe it. You just got to access that part of yourself. Okay, so here's another key that we have to do. So we're going to be tapping on both sides of our head. Okay? So if you're a right-handed person, chances are your left brain is more of like, you know, logical, analytical, word-oriented, stuff like that. And it's also considered to be a little more critical and skeptical, okay? So when you tap on your left side, your statement needs to have a negative wording in it, even though it's a positive intent. So like, if I were to try to work on my anxiety, my left tap might be, I am no longer anxious, right? See, I have a not in that statement. I am no longer, okay? Whereas on the right side, your right brain tends to be more receptive to favorable positive input, okay? So you could have a positively phrased statement when you tap on the right side. So if I'm trying to work on my anxiety, my right statement might be, I am feeling calm and relaxed, okay? So that's a positively worded statement that's phrased in the present moment as if it's already happening, right? So I am no longer anxious. I am feeling calm and relaxed, okay? But we're gonna do one side at a time, okay? You do left side first for a few times and then right side first, okay? But this wording is very important. It's also important to note that if you're left-handed, this might be reversed. There's applied kinesiology ways to test this, but I don't know enough about it to give you fair instructions about it. But chances are, if you're right-handed, it's going to be working the left brain, right brain, as I described here on the screen, okay? Okay, so then all you have to do is come up with your statements. It helps to write them down, all right, just so you're clear about it and you know your mind's not all over the place. And then repeat the statements about 5 times each, right? So you're going to do it 5 times on the left side and then 5 times on the right side. And then repeat this process several times throughout the day. And it only takes like a minute. So, you know, whatever you think of it, just try to do your statements. Maybe carry it with you, you know, put it in your phone or carry it on a little slip of paper so you remember it. And, you know, throughout the day, periodically, just do it. And they say that the more often you do it, the faster the change can happen and sink in. Okay? So that's all there is to it. So I wanted to do some examples with you just so you get a sense of how we do it. So just a few things that kind of come up a lot with people, right? So one is, let's say you're struggling to deal with criticism. You find yourself to be kind of a sensitive person, and when people criticize you for making a mistake or not living up to their standards or your standards, it hurts, right? And that could be kind of a difficult thing to manage, right? So let's try some tapping with criticism, okay? And of course, you could change the statements to make them work better for you. These are just a couple of examples I came up with, all right? So feel free, just change it up, okay? So let's try this, right? So on the left side, I am not taking criticism personally. I'm not taking criticism personally, right? And then if I do on the right side, I am growing and learning from my mistakes. I'm growing and learning from my mistakes, right? So instead of believing that, you know, criticism is a personal attack on who I am as a human being, I'm just taking it to mean like, okay, so they're picking on my mistakes. And there's another way that I could handle it. I could say, all right, well, I make some mistakes. I'm human and I could grow and learn from them, right? So it's a totally different take on it. And I really want to tap that in, right? I want to internalize that, okay? Another version of it is like criticism hurts because we really want approval from people. We want people to approve and like what we're doing because it means in some level like they approve and like us as human beings, right? But we have to remember that even if we don't get approval, we could still be okay, right? People could not like what we're doing and I could still be okay as a person. So let's try that one, okay? And I'm not doing it 5 times just for the sake of, you know, timeliness here, but you could of course pause this and do it more for yourself, all right? So I don't need approval to be okay. I don't need approval to be okay, right? I am already an okay person. I am already an okay person, right? And wouldn't we like to believe this a little bit more, right? So you could check this out, right? Try it out. Okay, so let's try this one. This comes up a lot, right? Let's say you have some people in your life you've kind of been hanging on to for a while. You know, they're not the most, you know, nicest people. Maybe they're kind of toxic people. They're really not a good fit for you anymore, but it's really hard to cut ties, right? Maybe you're afraid of abandonment. You're afraid of being by yourself. You don't know who you're going to meet next. And if I lose these people, then I may not find anyone else, right? There might be a lot of worries beneath this. So how do we use some tapping to get through this problem? All right, so let's say you're breaking up a relationship. Let's say it's you know, you have a partner and it's not really working out, but it's hard to let go. Okay, so what if we say, I don't need a partner to be okay. I don't need a partner to be okay. And then on the right side, I am living a good life as a single person. I am living a good life as a single person, right? So maybe I need to believe that I can survive being alone, you know? Maybe I prefer to have a person in my life, but it's better not to have a toxic person. So I'm going to try to figure out my best life by myself, right? All right. So another example is I'm not letting toxic people in my life. I'm not letting toxic people in my life. And maybe perhaps a wish right now, but we're talking as if it's already happening. I am surrounded by caring and supportive people. I'm surrounded by caring and supportive people. And you have to also work on believing that you deserve that, that it's okay to let good people in your life and that, they really can like you, right? Okay, so you can add some of that to your affirmation. All right, and here, one more example. Okay, so if you're in DBT, chances are maybe you're working on some self-harm behaviors, right? And this could mean a variety of different things, even minor things. Even biting your nails could be a self-harm behavior, smoking cigarettes, right? Whatever happens to be for you. Well, we won't have to get into details, right? So let's say I'm trying to work on this and I want to cement it a little bit extra with affirmations. So let's say on the left side, I'm saying, I am no longer hurting myself. I am no longer hurting myself. On the right side, coping skills are helping me deal with my emotions. Coping skills are helping me deal with my emotions, right? So why would we do this? Because we're trying to figure out different ways to manage our pain. So instead of managing it with a self-harming behavior, we're trying to manage it with coping skills, right? So I want to believe that the coping skills be more optimistic about the value of the coping skills, right? So coping skills are helping me deal with my emotions, right? Okay, so then another version is, I am not getting pleasure or relief from self-harm. I am not getting pleasure or relief from self-harm. Okay, and engaging in self-care makes me feel better. Engaging in self-care makes me feel better, right? So we're trying to let ourselves believe and fully internalize that I could be good to myself and allow myself to take in that good self-care. And that's the way to feel better, right? I don't have to engage in dangerous behaviors to try to change my emotions to feel better. Okay, so you see how this works? Okay, so I encourage you to give it a try. You have nothing to lose. There's no side effects. Okay, you have nothing to do but gain something. Okay, and if you're going to say self-affirmations already, you might as well make them a little more effective for you. So give it a try, be creative, and see what happens. All right? All right. Good luck, guys. Check it out. All right? All right. Talk to you soon.